video, you're going to learn what makes some of these 1992 D quarters so valuable, what to look for, and how you could have one sitting right at home. First off, a regular 1992 D quarter is pretty common. Over 389 million of them were made at the Denver Mint. Most of these are only worth face value, 25 cents. But a few have minting errors, and those are the ones that can sell for thousands. The rarest kinds of errors are called double dies, off-center strikes, broad-struck coins, and mules. These are not made on purpose, they happen when machines at the mint mess up during the coin-making process. And when that happens, it can create a coin that collectors will pay big money for. One of the most valuable errors is called a mule. That's when the front, obverse, and back, reverse, of the coin don't match. For example, there's a very famous coin that has the front of a Washington quarter and the back of a Sacagawea dollar. That coin sold for up to $200,000. So far, no one has found a mule with a 1992 D quarter, but if it ever shows up, it could be worth just as much or even more. Other valuable errors include off-center strikes. This happens when the coin isn't lined up correctly when it's struck by the dies. If the image is way off, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands. There are also broad-struck errors, where the coin was made without the collar that gives it its shape. These coins look flatter and wider than normal and are also valuable. Another thing to watch for is a double die. This means the coin was struck more than once by mistake, and it causes the letters or parts of the design to appear doubled. If you have a 1992 D quarter with clear doubling, especially if it's on the date or the word Liberty, that could be a big deal. The better the condition of the coin, the more it could be worth. Some people have even found coins with missing layers. The US quarter has a copper core and a nickel layer on the outside. But sometimes that layer doesn't get added, and the coin looks copper-colored on one or both sides. This kind of error is pretty rare and could sell for a few $100s or more. But here's where things really get exciting, when a coin has multiple errors at once. Imagine finding a 1992 D quarter that is off-center, broad-struck, and also has a double die. That kind of coin could be one of a kind, and collectors would be ready to fight over it in an auction. That's how you get into the $50,000 to $100,000 range. If you think you have a strange-looking 1992 D quarter, don't just spend it. Look closely at it. Use a magnifying glass. Compare it with a normal quarter. And if it looks really different, send it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll tell you if it's the real deal, and if it is, you might just hit the jackpot. So before you toss that old quarter in a vending machine, give it a second look. You could be holding a piece of rare American history. And a small fortune. Keep watching. 1982 D quarters were made at the Denver Mint, around 480 million, so almost all are just worth 25 cents or a couple bucks if they're in great shape, PCGS. But some slipped out with strange minting errors, and those could demand serious cash. First, the most jaw-dropping error is called a mule. That's when the front and back don't match. Imagine the front of a Washington quarter stamped on the back of a dollar or a different coin. The famous 2000 Sacagawea/quarter mule sold for up to $200,000, The Sun, Wikipedia. No one has found a mule with a 1982 D, but if it shows up, it's instantly worth six figures. Even without a mule, there are other big-time errors. Take off-center strikes, where part of the design is cut off. These can sell for hundreds or thousands depending on how crooked the strike is, coin-identifier.com. If it's way off-center, serious collectors take notice. Then there's double die errors. This happens when the die strikes the coin more than once but shifts slightly. That makes letters or numbers look doubled. On a 1982 D, clear doubling near the date or, "In God We Trust," can push the value up into the hundreds or even low thousands, The Sun, coin-identifier.com. In listings, I've seen coins with these errors sell for around $350 to $800, The Sun. Another rare find is filled mint mark errors. That happens when the D from Denver gets smudged or filled with metal so it's barely visible. Hunters have sold these in the few hundreds to eBay. More errors include missing or weak letters, like Liberty or In God We Trust, being faint or missing. These might fetch $10 to $200, and combined with other errors, even more, coin-identifier.com. Coins missing their copper-nickel layer, showing just the copper core, are also rare and collectible. Now here's the extreme case, a coin that's off-center, broad-struck, and has a double die, maybe even a filled mint mark. That combo could be unique. Collectors will fight over something like that, and it could seriously reach into the $50,000 to $100,000 plus zone. Even if it's just in top condition with no errors, a Denver coin graded MS67 or higher is very tough to find. Wikipedia, eBay, TikTok. Those are worth a premium. But someone with a perfect, error-free quarter won't get six figures. It's the rare error paired with high grade and a solid story that makes the magic. If you find a weird 1982 D quarter, don't spend it. Look at it with a magnifying glass. Compare both sides to a normal quarter. If anything looks off, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. If they call it a mule, an off-center strike, a double die, or a filled mint mark, you might be holding a gold mine. Before tossing that old coin in the vending machine, take a close look. You might be staring at a rare piece of American history, and maybe a fortune. Stick till the end of the video. I'll show you real coins, how to find the errors, and what each might be worth. Don't miss out, you never know if the next QA 52D penny from the Denver Mint is far more common. Hundreds of millions were made. Most are only worth face value or a few cents, even if uncirculated. But a tiny handful escaped the mint with big mistakes, errors like off-center strikes, double dies, filled mint marks, brockage, clipped planchets, and even rare multi-error combos. And that's where the magic happens. Off-center strikes mean the image is shifted, sometimes badly. A small offset, 5 to 10%, might only fetch $30, but a big one, 30 to 50%, can bring hundreds. One well-aligned 1952D was listed around $336 in MS64 grade with a 30% shift. YouTube, Wikipedia, coleccionistasdemonedas.com. If it's off-center and broad-struck, watch out, those can climb into thousands once certified. Double die errors happen when the die strikes twice. On a 1952D, a bold doubling on letters like Liberty or the date could be seen listed for $543, the Sun. That's a serious jump from face value. If it's crisp and high grade, it could easily hit four figures. Filled or repunched mint marks, where the D is punched twice or filled, are another hot ticket. Collectors on eBay are paying between $200 to $400 for these. One coin with an L on the rim and a filled date sold for $350, eBay, Bullion Shark. Some reach $500 plus. It's all about how visible the error is. Brockage errors, a mirror image imprint from a stuck coin, and clipped planchets, when part of the coin is missing, are rarer and can be very valuable. In 1952, brockage errors have been noted selling over $500, eBay, coleccionistasdemonedas.com. Clipped planchets with full dates or nice shape are also popular collector pieces. Higher-end collectors love multi-error coins. Imagine a penny that's off-center, with a double die, and a filled mint mark, all on one coin. That would be extremely rare. These unique combos can shoot right past $50,000, $80,000, or even $100,000 plus, especially if in crisp, mint state and certified by PCGS or NGC. This is where the real jackpots live. Even without certification, the highest graded 1952D penny, MS67 red, sold at Heritage for $6,463, Bullion Shark, Bullion Shark. That's solid money, but nowhere near a major error combo. So while condition alone can bring in thousands, the rare error coins are where the six-figure magic happens. Other legendary wheat pennies from similar eras, like the 1943 Bronze Era that sold for $336,000, show us the ceiling of what's possible. Bullion Shark, the Sun. If that copper-on-copper mistake happened in 1952, its value would be stratospheric. So what should you do? Grab any 1952 D penny you find and check it carefully. Use a magnifier to look at the date, mint mark, letters, and rim. Is any letter doubled, missing, raised, or too close to the edge? Is the coin misshapen, off-center, or clipped? Broad struck? Look closely at the D. If it's weird, that could be huge. If you spot something odd, don't spend it, submit it for authentication to PCGS or NGC. With luck, you might hold a rare mint E. Back in 1941, the United States was in the middle of tough times with World War II underway. The U.S. Mint was busy making millions of pennies every day, using a design called the wheat penny. These coins were easy to spot because the back had two stalks of wheat on each side of the number 1, which stood for 1 cent. Most pennies looked the same, but sometimes, mistakes happened during the minting process, and that's where the magic begins. A minting error means the coin was made with something wrong or different. Maybe the design was doubled, or the date was missing, or the coin was struck off-center. These errors are very rare, especially from 1941. And collectors love these mistakes because they're one-of-a-kind pieces that show a little secret from the mint's machines. It's like finding a rare stamp or a misprinted bill. When you discover a 1941 wheat penny error, you're holding a piece of history that escaped the mint's perfect machines. One of the most exciting errors on a 1941 wheat penny is the double die error. This means the coin's design was stamped twice, but slightly off each other, making the numbers or letters look blurry or doubled. Imagine the date 1941 looking like it's been stamped twice, making it pop out in a strange way. This kind of error is very rare and very valuable. If your penny has this kind of doubling, you could be sitting on a coin worth between $30,000 to $50,000, or even more if it's in excellent condition. Another rare and fascinating error is the missing date or weak date penny. Sometimes the date on the coin didn't get stamped clearly or got struck so lightly that it's hard to see. These coins are extremely rare because most pennies always had a clear date. A missing or barely visible date penny from 1941 could be worth a lot to collectors who want something unique. The value of such pennies can skyrocket up to $50,000 or even beyond if the error is perfect and the coin looks good. You might also hear about off-center strikes. This is when the coin's design isn't centered properly, and part of the wheat or the date is cut off. These coins look unusual and catch the eye quickly. Off-center pennies from 1941 are special and can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on how off-center the strike is and how much of the design is visible. Why are these pennies so valuable? The answer is simple: rarity and condition. Most pennies from 1941 were normal, so only a tiny fraction with errors exist today. Collectors are willing to pay big money to own a piece of this history. The better the coin looks, less worn, shiny, clear design, the higher its value. Some coins have even sold for $200,000 at auctions, proving just how exciting and rewarding finding a rare error penny can be. For many people, collecting pennies is a hobby, but for a few lucky ones, it becomes a treasure hunt. Imagine digging through jars, old change, or flea markets and finding a 1941 wheat penny error that could change your financial life forever. That feeling of surprise and excitement is why these coins are so loved by collectors around the world. In history, these coins remind us of a time when coins were made by hand-operated machines and human eyes watched over the process. Mistakes like double dies or off-center strikes show that even the government's mint could have errors, making these pennies proof that nothing is perfect. They are a little window into the past, connecting us with the people and technology of the 1940s. If you find a 1941 wheat penny, don't just toss it in your piggy bank. Take a closer look under good light. Look for doubled numbers, blurry dates, or parts of the design missing or off-center. These tiny details can make your penny worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you think you have one of these rare coins, it's a good idea to have it checked by a professional coin grader or appraiser who can tell you exactly what you have and how much it's worth. Remember, not every 1941 wheat penny is valuable, but if you find an error, you could be holding a coin worth a fortune. Some of these pennies have sold for $30,000, $50,000, and in rare cases, even $200,000. It's like finding a small treasure in your pocket or wallet that you didn't know was there. So next time you get a handful of pennies, look carefully. One of them might be that rare 1941 wheat penny error, waiting to surprise you with its amazing story and incredible value. Who knows? You might be the next person to discover a piece of history worth a fortune. Are you ready to hunt for this rare penny? Because finding one could be the most exciting thing you ever do.